Clinical trials are the foundation of modern medicine, allowing us to develop and approve new drugs, devices, and treatments. These carefully designed studies rigorously evaluate the safety and effectiveness of potential therapies, ensuring they meet the highest standards before being made available to patients. By recruiting diverse participants and following strict protocols, clinical trials generate the robust data needed to transform scientific breakthroughs into life-changing medical innovations. Clinical trials are essential for advancing medical progress and bringing new, impactful treatments to those who need them. Clinical trials are research studies that evaluate the safety and effectiveness of new medical interventions, such as drugs, devices, or treatments. They involve the participation of human volunteers under the supervision of healthcare professionals. The primary purpose of clinical trials is to determine whether a new medical approach is safe and effective for human use. They provide critical data on the potential benefits and risks. Clinical trials are closely regulated and monitored by government agencies, such as the FDA in the U.S., to ensure the safety and rights of participants are protected. These trials play a crucial role in advancing medical knowledge and bringing new, potentially life-saving treatments to patients. The primary purpose of clinical trials is to evaluate the safety and efficacy of new medical interventions, such as drugs, devices, or procedures. These trials assess whether the proposed treatment is effective in treating a specific condition and whether it has any harmful side effects. By testing new treatments, clinical trials aim to find better ways to prevent, diagnose, or manage diseases, ultimately improving patient health outcomes. Successful trials can lead to the development of new therapies that are more effective or have fewer side effects than existing options. Clinical trials also contribute to the broader advancement of medical science by expanding our understanding of diseases, human biology, and the mechanisms of action of various treatments. The data collected during these trials can inform future research and guide the development of new therapies. For some patients, participating in a clinical trial may be their best or only option to access experimental treatments that are not yet available on the market, which can be particularly important for individuals with rare or difficult-to-treat conditions. Clinical trials are research studies that evaluate the effects of a specific intervention, such as a new drug, device, or therapy. Interventional trials actively manage and control the treatment to measure its impact on participants. Observational trials simply observe participants and collect data without providing any intervention to study the natural progression of a disease or the relationship between risk factors and outcomes. Prevention trials test interventions that may lower the risk of developing a disease or condition, such as vaccines, lifestyle modifications, or medication. Diagnostic trials evaluate new tests or procedures for diagnosing a particular disease or condition to improve the accuracy, reliability, and accessibility of diagnostic tools. The phases of clinical trials are a critical part of the drug development process. Phase 1 tests the safety of a new treatment in a small group of healthy volunteers. Phase 2 evaluates the efficacy and side effects in a larger patient population. Phase 3 compares the new treatment to the standard of care in a large, diverse group of patients. Phase 4 involves post-marketing surveillance to monitor long-term safety and effectiveness. This stepwise approach ensures new therapies are thoroughly evaluated before approval for widespread use. Each phase has a specific purpose and focuses on different aspects of the treatment. Identifying eligible participants is a crucial first step in the clinical trial process. Researchers work closely with healthcare providers to review medical records, test results, and other data to ensure potential participants meet the specific criteria for the study. The goal is to find individuals who are suitable and can safely participate in the trial. Targeted outreach is used to raise awareness and encourage eligible individuals to consider enrolling in the clinical trial. The outreach methods include posting flyers in medical offices, running social media campaigns, and collaborating with patient advocacy groups. This helps connect the research team with potential participants who may be interested and qualified. Before enrolling, participants must provide informed consent, which involves thoroughly understanding the study's purpose, procedures, risks, benefits, and their rights as a research subject. This ensures participants make a well-informed decision about their participation. Inclusion criteria define the key characteristics participants must have to be eligible for the clinical trial, such as age, disease stage, and prior treatments. Meeting these criteria ensures the study population is appropriate for answering the research questions. Exclusion criteria identify conditions or factors that would make a potential participant ineligible, such as comorbidities or concurrent medications. Exclusions help maintain the scientific integrity of the trial by reducing confounding factors. Researchers carefully screen potential participants to ensure they meet both the inclusion and exclusion criteria. This helps recruit a homogeneous study population and increases the validity of the trial results. Informed consent is a critical process that ensures participants in a clinical trial have a clear understanding of the study, including its purpose, procedures, risks, and potential benefits. The informed consent process involves transparent and open communication between the research team and the participant. Participants are encouraged to ask questions and have their concerns addressed. Participation in a clinical trial must be entirely voluntary. Participants have the right to withdraw from the study at any time, without penalty or impact on their medical care. The informed consent process emphasizes the participants' right to voluntarily participate, ensuring they feel empowered to make an informed decision about their involvement. Randomization is a key part of clinical trials, as it helps ensure that any differences in outcomes are due to the intervention, not other factors. Blinding is also critical. Keeping the treatment assignments hidden from participants and researchers helps minimize bias and ensure objectivity. Double blinding, where neither the participants nor the researchers know the treatment assignments, is considered the gold standard for clinical trials. These techniques help us draw reliable, unbiased conclusions from the data collected in the trial. Placebo-controlled trials are a powerful tool for measuring the true efficacy of a treatment. They use a placebo, an inert substance with no therapeutic effect, as a comparison to the investigational treatment. This allows researchers to isolate the effects of the treatment from the natural course of the disease or the placebo effect. Participants are randomly assigned to receive either the treatment or the placebo, ensuring any differences can be attributed to the treatment. Placebo-controlled trials often use blinding, where participants, researchers, and/or clinicians are unaware of who received the treatment or the placebo. This helps to eliminate bias and ensures the integrity of the study results. The primary endpoint is the main outcome the clinical trial is designed to measure. This is typically the most important measure of the intervention's efficacy or safety, such as reduction in symptoms, disease progression, or mortality. Secondary endpoints are additional outcomes that can provide valuable information about the intervention's effects, such as quality of life, biomarkers, or resource utilization. These help give a more comprehensive understanding of the impact. Exploratory endpoints are used to investigate other potential effects or identify new areas for future research. These can include novel outcome measures or analyses not pre-specified in the trial design. Understanding the different types of endpoints and their purposes is crucial for interpreting clinical trial results and determining the overall impact of the intervention. Clinical trials require meticulous data collection to ensure the integrity and reliability of the findings. Standardized protocols are established for data gathering, including case report forms, electronic data capture systems, and secure storage solutions. Data is carefully entered into databases and regularly monitored for accuracy and completeness by data managers and quality assurance teams. Specialized data management systems are employed to organize, store, and protect the vast amounts of clinical trial data, with features like access controls, audit trails, and data validation. Adverse event reporting is crucial for patient safety and the overall success of clinical trials. It helps identify potential side effects or complications from the investigational drug or treatment. Adverse events include any untoward medical occurrence, whether or not it has a causal relationship to the study intervention. Researchers must report all adverse events, regardless of severity or perceived relation to the study drug. This includes serious adverse events like hospitalization, disability, or death, as well as non-serious events. Adverse events must be reported to the IRB and regulatory agencies within a specific timeframe, typically 24 to 72 hours for serious events and 7 to 14 days for non-serious events. Comprehensive and timely reporting is essential for monitoring patient safety and the viability of the study. Clinical trials require continuous monitoring to ensure participant safety and data integrity. This involves regular reviews of safety data, protocol compliance, and any adverse events. An independent data monitoring committee, DMC, or Data Safety Monitoring Board, DSMB, oversees the trial. The DMC/DSMB reviews the data at predefined intervals and can recommend changes or terminate the trial if necessary. Clinical trials are subject to regulatory inspections to verify compliance with good clinical practice guidelines. These inspections ensure the trial is being conducted ethically and the data is reliable. Regular audits and quality assurance checks are performed to identify and address any issues with data collection, management, or reporting. This helps maintain the integrity and credibility of the clinical trial. Informed consent is critical. We must ensure participants fully understand the risks, benefits, and voluntary nature of their involvement. Recruitment should be equitable and inclusive, avoiding biases or discrimination in the selection process. We must carefully weigh the potential risks to participants against the anticipated benefits of the research. Robust data protection measures are essential to safeguard participant privacy and confidentiality. Clinical trials must adhere to a complex framework of laws, regulations, and guidelines set forth by various governing bodies to ensure the safety and rights of study participants, as well as the integrity of the research process. Investigational drugs and medical devices must meet specific regulatory requirements for testing, approval, and commercialization. Trials must follow strict protocols to comply with these regulations and obtain the necessary approvals. All clinical trials must be reviewed and approved by an institutional review board, IRB, which is responsible for protecting the rights and welfare of human research participants. The IRB ensures the trial design and informed consent process is ethical and compliant. Institutional review boards, or IRBs, are independent committees that provide critical oversight and approval for clinical trials. Their role is to ensure research protocols protect the rights, safety, and well-being of study participants. IRBs review and approve the informed consent documents given to potential participants, making sure the information is clear and allows for voluntary, informed decision-making. They also continuously monitor the progress of approved clinical trials, reviewing any adverse events or protocol changes to ensure ongoing protection of participants. Good clinical practice, GCP, outlines the ethical principles that protect the rights, safety, and well-being of clinical trial participants. This includes obtaining informed consent and minimizing risks to participants. GCP also sets standards for designing, conducting, recording, and reporting clinical trials in a consistent, scientifically valid manner. This promotes data integrity and reliable results from the trials. GCP requires robust systems for monitoring, auditing, and inspecting clinical trials to ensure compliance with regulations and protocols. This promotes transparency and public trust in the clinical trial process. Patient safety is our top priority in this clinical trial. We have rigorous protocols in place to closely monitor participants and quickly identify and address any potential risks or adverse events. Participants in this trial have fundamental rights that we are committed to protecting, including the right to informed consent, privacy, and the ability to withdraw from the study at any time without penalty. This trial is subject to close oversight by institutional review boards and other regulatory bodies to ensure it adheres to the highest ethical standards and respects the rights and dignity of all participants. We take these ethical principles extremely seriously and will do everything in our power to uphold them throughout the course of this study. Recruiting and retaining participants is a major challenge in clinical trials. Eligibility criteria, time commitments, and lack of awareness can make it difficult to enroll and keep participants engaged throughout the trial. Achieving diverse and representative participant populations is crucial, but also challenging. Factors like accessibility, cultural barriers, and historical mistrust can make it hard to include underrepresented groups. Conducting high-quality clinical trials requires substantial financial resources and infrastructure. Securing adequate funding, managing budgets, and allocating resources effectively are ongoing challenges for researchers. Enrolling participants for clinical trials can be challenging due to concerns about risks, time commitment, or perceived lack of benefits. Overcoming these barriers requires strategic outreach and clear communication about the trial's purpose and potential benefits. Retaining participants throughout the trial is crucial for success. Effective retention strategies include providing transportation assistance, scheduling flexibility, and regular check-ins to address concerns or side effects. Building positive relationships with participants is key to maintaining their engagement. Ensuring diverse representation is essential to obtain results representative of the broader population. This can involve targeted recruitment efforts, addressing language and cultural barriers, and collaborating with community organizations. Clinical trials require significant funding to cover patient recruitment, data collection, lab analyses, and regulatory compliance. Researchers must explore various funding sources, including government grants, industry partnerships, and charitable foundations. Academic medical centers, hospitals, and research organizations often have dedicated infrastructure and resources to support clinical trials. Leveraging these institutional resources can help streamline the trial process. Emerging funding models like crowdsourcing, patient-led initiatives, and public-private partnerships can diversify funding sources and engage broader stakeholder communities. Data analysis and interpretation are critical steps in the clinical trial process. We start by carefully collecting relevant data from the clinical trials. Next, we ensure the quality and integrity of the data through a thorough data cleaning process. We then apply appropriate statistical methods to analyze the data and identify any significant trends or patterns. The interpretation of these findings is key. We draw meaningful insights that can inform decision-making and guide the development of new treatments. Finally, we communicate our findings to stakeholders through clear and concise reporting. Robust data analysis and interpretation are essential for understanding the safety, efficacy, and clinical relevance of the intervention being studied. The data collected from the clinical trial must be thoroughly analyzed to evaluate the safety and efficacy of the intervention. Researchers use advanced statistical methods and visualization tools to present the findings in a clear and compelling manner. The results of the clinical trial are typically disseminated through scientific conferences, peer-reviewed journals, and other professional channels. This allows the broader medical community to review the findings and assess their implications for patient care and future research. Ensuring that the trial participants and the general public are informed about the outcomes is also crucial. Researchers often develop patient-friendly summaries and engage with patient advocacy groups to share the findings in an accessible manner. Clinical trial registries are public databases that provide information on ongoing and completed clinical studies. They help increase transparency and accountability in the research process. Researchers, healthcare providers, and the public can search these registries to find details on study design, eligibility criteria, enrollment status, and results. Many countries require the registration of clinical trials before they can begin, ensuring that research is tracked and reported. This helps ensure that all relevant studies are made public, even if they have negative or inconclusive findings. Accessing these registries allows us to get a comprehensive view of the clinical research landscape and make more informed decisions about treatment options. Clinical trial registries are public databases that provide information on ongoing and completed clinical studies. They help increase transparency and accountability in the research process. Researchers, healthcare providers, and the public can search these registries to find details on study design, eligibility criteria, enrollment status, and results. Many countries require the registration of clinical trials before they can begin, ensuring that research is tracked and reported. This helps ensure that all relevant studies are made public, even if they have negative or inconclusive findings. Accessing these registries allows us to get a comprehensive view of the clinical research landscape and make more informed decisions about treatment options. Adaptive clinical trials allow us to modify the study protocol based on data collected during the trial, enabling us to optimize the study's efficiency and likelihood of success. Emerging trial designs like basket trials, umbrella trials, and platform trials are pioneering new ways to study multiple interventions or disease subgroups simultaneously, accelerating the development of effective therapies. Adaptive and innovative trial designs offer greater flexibility to respond to evolving scientific knowledge and patient needs, incorporating real-time data analysis and decision-making to optimize study protocols and bring safe and effective treatments to patients faster. The illustration on this slide depicts the interconnected elements of adaptive and innovative trial designs, showcasing the modern, abstract, and vibrant nature of these approaches. Clinical trials are evolving with the integration of emerging technologies like AI, ML, digital biomarkers, and decentralized approaches. AI and ML algorithms can automate data analysis, identify patterns, and predict outcomes, accelerating patient recruitment, optimizing study design, and improving risk assessment. Connected devices and wearable sensors can continuously monitor patient data, providing real-time insights into disease progression and treatment response for more objective and precise endpoints. Decentralized and virtual trials, enabled by technologies like telemedicine and mobile apps, reduce the burden on participants and expand access to clinical research. These innovations are transforming the clinical trial landscape, making the process more efficient, data-driven, and patient-centric. The future of clinical trials will see an increased integration of digital technologies, such as wearable devices, mobile apps, and virtual/decentralized trials. These advancements will enable remote patient monitoring, real-time data collection, and improved patient engagement. Clinical trial designs will continue to evolve, with a focus on adaptive and innovative approaches. This includes the use of Bayesian methods, platform trials, and seamless phase transitions, allowing for more efficient and flexible study protocols. As our understanding of genetics and biomarkers advances, clinical trials will shift towards more personalized and precision-based approaches. This will enable the development of targeted therapies and the identification of patient subgroups that are most likely to benefit from the intervention. The future of clinical trials will prioritize patient-centric approaches, with a greater emphasis on patient preferences, patient-reported outcomes, and the incorporation of patient feedback throughout the research process. Clinical trials follow a well-defined, multi-phase process to rigorously test new treatments and ensure patient safety and efficacy. Inclusive participant recruitment is crucial to ensure trial results are representative and applicable to diverse patient populations. Clinical trials are subject to strict regulatory requirements and review by independent bodies to uphold ethical standards and patient protections.